Welcome back, everybody. We're back for episode 2 of By the Horns podcast. And today we are going to be talking about how and why By the Horns. How did we get here? How we got our name? If we ever thought we'd even be entrepreneurs. And we're going to let you in on the down low on all that. And you're going to get to know a little bit more about the both of us and who we are as people and what led us here. So let's get to it.
I was advocating ever since I was in high school. And I didn't realize this until I talked to Olivia and we got to thinking, and you were like, wow, you've been advocating since you were in high school. But what got me into it was when I took partners in policy making. And what that is a class that teaches people how to be an advocate and how to really work with Congress and things like that to get things done. And I just met a lot of people there. And at first, it was kind of all about just having fun.
So you met with Congress and stuff to get things done, but what does that look like?
Well, to get things done, they actually trained you on how to work with legislation and congressmen, like face to face. So at the point in time, we were working on the thing called Unlock the Waiting List, and what that is it to help people get Medicaid waivers. It's so much funding that the state gives to people so that they can have services and funding. And they only allow so many waivers per year. So they try to get people with disabilities to get behind the campaign to help them unlock funding by telling Congress the importance of funding and what it takes to get that funding and the importance of funding. So we actually went to the Capitol and we stood behind the ropes and actually talked to congressmen about what was going on.
I got you to one of those.
Yeah. So we talked about what was going on in our community and we told them the importance of services, and I actually argued with the congressman for like 30 or 40 minutes, and he actually told me to get out of his office.
I remember that. I totally remember that. That was like your first taste of which I've always been so fueled by that. I love politics and I love fighting for what's right. So hearing that you were going to the Capitol and you were going to go up there and you're going to strong arm these congressmen, unlock the waiting list. You've got 7,000. It's 8,000 now, but 7,000 people on this waiting list. What are you doing? That was really, and you weren't just being tyrannical about it either. Y'all had great points. Y'all did all your research. You had all the backing. Good Lord, there were hundreds of people there.
Yeah,
y'all made a big difference with that.
Yeah, it's actually coming up. I think in March. It's coming up again. Unlock the waiting list, and they have different days for each subject. So that might be something that people want to check out. Maybe we can put a link to it. I'll find out the information. We'll put a link to it on the podcast. I'll totally do that. So people can come out and see what we do.
Yeah, and it's at the Georgia State Capitol, so it's not far. It's right up there, and you don't have to stay the whole time. But it's something to see. It's really something to see.
Yeah.
So you did the partners in policy making, and that was one of the first things. So was that one of the first things that got you started into the whole advocating for disabilities and wanting to make an influence on people? Was that one of the first things, or was there something else, or was there something after?
It all started when I got in high school. I love bringing people together, and that's what By the Horns is about. And we had this thing called the Partners Club, where regular students who weren't disabled would come with us on field trips and things like that. So I was always recruiting my friends and people in my classes to come to field trips and do things like that, so we could get them exposed to people with disabilities and actually show them that we're no different.
That's exactly what By the Horns is. You literally took your high school dream of bringing people in and letting them know about people with disabilities, and you took that into the adult world, because what a lot of people don't know is when you're under the age of 18 and you're in school, you've got sports leagues, school clubs, all kinds of things that help the disabled get out into the community. But once you turn 18, they no more. There's nothing. So it's total culture shock. You go from being involved in school 8 hours a day, going and doing all this, to all of a sudden you have nothing. You have no way to go around. You have nowhere to go. You have no resources. And it's really crazy. So you started pretty much By the Horns in your school, but Partners Club, was Partners Club already a thing, and then you just recruited the crap out of people?
It's funny you say that because they had no idea about Partners Club when I was in high school. But Misty, our cousin, started Eagles Landing, so I went to my teacher like, "Hey, do you know about Partners Club?" She's like, "No, what is that? Give me more information." So I told her because I had it when I was in Eagles Landing Middle School, and so I told her, and she's like, "Well, we got to start this at the high school, at our high school, because I switched schools from Eagles Landing to Union Grove." So she's like, "Wow," and she came from Clayton County where they had nothing like that. So she really, I was an instrumental part in starting that in the school.
That's really dope. That's really dope. So like, I didn't even realize that because that was, you graduated in 2006, right? Yeah, you graduated in 2006. So that was almost 20 years ago,
Yeah,
18 years ago. That's when you graduated. So 20 years ago, actually 22 years ago, if you started it when you were in ninth grade, 22 years ago, you did basically a test run of By the Horns and you
yeah.
didn't even realize it.
I didn't even know it, but I just
I
knew that I
know.
wanted to. I knew that I wanted to do this. I had, and then after high school, I started like wanting to create T-shirts to make my own funding because I don't like working for other people. So I started advocating. And then I brought you on board, and then we can the yard sale, and that's when it all began. When we started
Well,
talking about
that's speaking of the t-shirts, go back, don't go too fast. Speaking of the t-shirts, that's how you ended up meeting Stevie, right?
yeah, Stevie
Yeah,
had his own.
so
Yeah,
what's his last name? I just know him as Stevie.
Stevie Hawkins.
Stevie Hawkins. So for those of you that don't know, Stevie was someone that Ben really looked up to. He owned the t-shirt company 3E Love,
And
and it was a disabilities clothing line. And he did great strides to the community. I mean, he blew up this clothing line, and he really advocated throughout the community. And he just passed away due to his disease 2 days ago.
yeah,
It was 2 days ago on Sunday.
yeah, yeah.
And RIP, greatly missed. So thankful for all of your influence and everything that you've done, Mr. Stevie. So yeah, I wanted to give a little shout out to him, and that just kind of like was a perfect opportunity that you're talking about this. So I'm glad we got to do that.
And I'm actually wearing the hat.
I see that. I
Yeah,
see that. Turn your head just a little bit. Other way. Other way. Yeah, that way. If you can see it, it's the little, like the tire for the handicap guy is a heart. So it's like 3E Love. That it's really good. So, so other than that, so you started getting into your t-shirts and everything. And then that's pretty much like modern, that kind of, so, and also for those of you who don't know, because you will quickly find out, Ben has done, I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on and on. I mean, he started when he was a freshman in high school advocating for disabilities, and he's done a little bit of everything since then. So for this episode, we're only going to talk about the things that really influenced him to start something like By the Horns, because that's what we're talking about, how we both got into wanting to do something like this. Throughout other episodes in the future, other seasons, other episodes, all throughout, he's going to elaborate on all the other things that he's done, because I'm not kidding you guys. We would be here for like 30 minutes just listening to him go on and on and on about the things he did. And we didn't want to do that to you in one episode. We wanted to like make you wait a little bit. And we also wanted to like keep it a little bit more like, we decided to save some of all of Ben's accomplishments, because I'm serious. There's a lot. It's
yeah.
incredible.
But
Um,
one thing I've done that really hits it nationally is I did the 6 Hour Waiting film, and that went all the way to Washington. So I've actually been nationally known. And I actually spoke to the people at the Capitol. I had no idea about the film, so I've spoken to congressmen about the film too.
is that still publicly available?
Yeah, it's
Okay,
on.
so we're going to link that also on this episode. 6,000 Waiting. Guys, it is a fantastic documentary. The guys that put it on, not only are they extremely talented, but they were so kind. They came into our home. They were up for anything. I'm kidding you. When you see the opening scene, you'll know what I mean by they're up for anything. And they were so kind. It was really awesome. And it was such an amazing, inspirational, informative documentary. You've got to watch it if you want to see all the different dynamics of people with disabilities and how important judicial, not, I don't know, judicial, right, but like rights through the government, how important it is for people with
Yeah.
disabilities, it's very important. And
Well,
it's a great documentary. Ben makes it
yeah,
very interesting. Our friend Nick makes it like touches your heart. There's everybody that they casted for that video was amazing.
it'll show you the importance of funding for Medicaid waivers so that people can get out and live their own life and have their own dreams and be an entrepreneur just like me.
Yeah. So that's how you kind of got influenced and inspired to do By the Horns. And then, so our worlds do collide, and there is an apex moment. Like I don't think it could be any more clear when we decided to join forces. But we both had our own journeys a little bit. So that was Ben's journey, started forever. And then as far as for me, why I wanted to get started with By the Horns is I've always worked with my hands. I've always like kind of been into art and um, construction and just whatever I could really do to make money that was kind of artistic and free flowing. I worked for Mellow Mushroom and did kind of stuff like that. And then I got into the film industry. And I loved what I was doing, but it was like I loved creating the art. But at the end of the day, if we're being honest, like 12 hours a day doing something that you don't totally believe in. I don't really believe in the movies Hollywood makes. I think most of them are garbage. The subject matter is garbage. The politics are garbage. And I wasn't loving what I was doing. I was spending every waking hour of my day there. And then COVID hit. I mean, I know COVID was tragic for a lot of people, but honestly, for me, it was the most freeing thing that ever happened. I got unemployment from the movies, and I had an entire year to just do whatever I wanted to do, to be creative and to interact with people because I interacted with plenty of people over COVID. And it made me realize that like I wanted to make a difference. And I wanted to be able to support myself in the meantime. Like it wasn't all about the money. It was all about supporting people and being there for people and bringing people together. I wanted to what I saw was missing in the film industry. Everyone was so alienated. Everyone was so scared of everybody. All of the stuff that they show you on the mainstream media that everybody's mean, everybody's hateful, everybody's out to get you. That's not really true. And I don't feel like that there's enough advocating for people reminding us that inherently people are good. We do have some pretty negative traits, but we're not bad. And I wanted to be a brighter voice and to let people know that people are good, but obviously I've got to make money in the process. So I was taking these seminars, I was doing these classes to figure out how I could make money doing it and not feel sleazy or anything about it. And I was just like spinning circles. And then I decided that I wanted to start some kind of, I wanted to do a webinar of some sort. And I was talking to Ben about it at a yard sale, and I did not have any concrete ideas. I just knew that I wanted to help people. I knew that I wanted to talk to people and help them in a positive way. And Ben we were having a yard sale at our yard. Our parents had just moved and we were selling all the stuff from our old house. And me and Ben were talking about what we had going on, like we usually do. And it hit us like a ton of bricks, right, Ben?
Yeah,
It was
it
like
was.
you were talking about yours, I was talking about mine, and all of a sudden you looked at me and you were like, wait a minute, why are we not doing this together?
Yeah, it was crazy because it was like one of those moments where I don't know if you remember this, but you were kind of getting on my butt because you're like, why aren't you? Because I wanted to sell T-shirts and stuff, and I had talked with Grant at the tattoo shop, owner and stuff. You're like, why aren't you doing anything with your T-shirts? Why aren't you doing anything? I'm like, well, I need help. And you're like, what do you want to do? So we talked about it. You're like, wait a second, you need help, I need help. Why don't we just combine this together?
Yeah, because I was
So
at a loss. Like you had that passion and that drive that I so desperately was looking for. And I've always been good about motivating you and holding you up high. And like I've always been so good about being like something as simple as why are you not feeding yourself? You said you wanted to be more independent. So why are you not feeding yourself? You're perfectly capable of feeding yourself. It's just like with this, it's like you want to talk to people and you're so good at talking to people. Why aren't you talking to people? Why aren't you getting your brand out there? And then you kind of at the same thing said, looked at me and was like, well, let's do it together then.
yeah. So you've been that motivating force to push me, and then we started this, and now I'm just taking this, and you are too. I'm taking it, run with it. All I do is eat and sleep and breathe by the horns now. That's all I do.
So we have two very separate roles that we've just naturally molded into. Ben is very much a promoter. He loves to talk to anyone, everyone about anything and everything. And he promotes himself like he's the greatest thing since sliced bread, because he pretty much is, and he knows that. And he's really good at it, and it's not about him. He knows that what he stands for and what's in his heart is really awesome, and he's so good at conveying that. God, he's so good at that. And I'm way more on the analytical spectrum. I like to be behind the scenes. I like to be behind the camera. I love editing all of our videos. I love planning out and getting outlines for the things that we're going to talk about. I love being the pusher. And so we've just kind of like naturally fallen into that. And since I still have a normal daily job that and two kids and a whole family, Ben eats, sleeps, and breathes this thing. He really does. It's incredible. And I do a lot, and I definitely do as much as I can, but Ben is over here killing it every second of every day. And it's just like to be his sister and see how much he struggled throughout the years trying to do what really feeds his heart, and then being able to help him be a part of actually making it happen.
Yeah. It really showed me what a good team we could be and how well we work together and how well you do need other people in your life to help you do these things. And it doesn't
Yeah.
matter if you're disabled or not. Everybody needs help making their dreams come true. You just got to be the one to enforce it. But you always need somebody to help you. You can't do everything on your own, but it just showed me the power of what you can do if you have the right people help
Right. And that's why we decided to name it By the Horns, because it doesn't matter if you're in a wheelchair. It doesn't matter if you have perfectly working legs. We all need a little help. And life isn't one of those things like get on the bike and ride. Life is not that easy. It's like this is a rodeo. Life is a bull, and it's going to knock your butt off a few times. And are you going to get back up and keep riding for that 8-second win? Or are you going to give up? And so you got to, if you really want the most out of life, if you want that triumphant, heck yeah, victory at the end, you've got to grab life by the horns and go, baby.
you.
And
Yeah,
that's why we named it that, because we say that all the time. You just grab life by the horns. Let's go, buddy. Grab life by the horns. And so we figured it was like edgy and like a little like really like kind of in your face, but it was also like kind of empowering, because I mean, have you ever seen the look of a rodeo bull rider after he rides that bull for that long?
he, he looks
It is
beat up.
like,
He is beat up.
well,
Yeah,
he's just like ecstasy all over his face. It's like the greatest thing he's ever done in his life. Exhilarating, adrenaline, the accomplishment. Like, that's something. That's really something.
yeah. It brings me back to it's like people want to be a social media influencer and all that. They want to do all this, like let's say independent music, for example. I know I've been listening to an independent rapper and I've been taking some of his skills as far as promoting. He's like, bro, he's like, don't give up because it could be 8 months before one of your videos just blows up and goes viral. It could be 2 years before it goes viral. But if you never give up and you always stay true to the course, you're gonna get there. You just can't give up and you gotta stay focused and keep digging, no
Yeah,
matter
that
what.
reminds me of this little like comic thing that stays in my head. It's like one of those like newspaper comics. And it's this guy, and he's digging 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 for like several frames. And then finally he's like, I've been digging for too long. I give up. And he goes to walk away. But when he goes to give up, he's this far away from finding the gold. He gives up right before he makes it. And
Yeah,
that's kind of how life is. If you're really into it and it really means something to you, you just keep going, because you never know when you're going to hit it, but you're going to hit it.
that's where a lot of people fail. They don't look at where they want to be and how they're gonna get there. They just look at the ultimate prize. Oh, I'm never gonna make it. You put obstacles in your own way, basically.
Yeah, you do. 100%. It's just a matter of step by step, just keep going, just a little progress at a time. And by the time you look back on it, that little bit of progress each day or each week will end up be your completed goal.
Absolutely.
So, going forward just a little bit, as far as being entrepreneurs, did you think that you were ever going to be like when you were younger? Did you ever think you were going to be an entrepreneur?
Yeah, but I didn't know I was gonna be an entrepreneur with my sister, and we were gonna be connected in that way. But even when I was in high school, I told my teachers and everybody, I'm like, I'm gonna be famous for something. I'm gonna make a big difference in this world. And they would even say the same thing. They're like, he's gonna go somewhere. He's gonna do something with his life. But I just never thought I'd be doing it with my sister.
I love it. And also, for those of you who don't know, we are 6 years apart. So when we were growing up, we were not close. at all. Like we tolerated each other. We didn't start forming a relationship until I turned 20, pretty much. And it's like we both reached that maturity level where like our age gap wasn't that big of a deal. And ever since then, it's like this, buddy.
Yeah,
So
and
it's really, that's really neat. I love that.
I think by the horns it kind of helped that too because we have
Oh
to work
my God,
together.
yes.
Yeah, we have to work together. We have to connect. We're always talking about something, and we're meeting people together. Like I met Amy Copeland in Australia, Georgia, and so did you. So now we're building that connection together.
Well, and we're doing hard things together, like building a business and building a brand, especially when you don't know anything about business or brands. That's really hard. And we're doing that together and we're figuring out together and we're having to like watch ourselves and be patient with each other and be understanding of each other and being able to put lovingly push each other. And it's just, I think it's been a great, healthy thing. And that's one of the things that we want to share with other people. We've been building a business, and that's something that we've been building to grow with each other. But like when we hold our events, we like to do things like that too, where two unsuspecting people have to work together to complete a fun goal. And like, because you've never done it before, you grow so much from that. It's
Absolutely,
ridiculous.
absolutely.
I know I never thought I'd be an entrepreneur. I don't never really put much thought into what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. Anyways, I always thought I was going to do art. I always thought that I was going to be a muralist, and then that bird flew out the window, and then I thought that I was going to retire from the film industry, and that bird quickly flew out the window. And then I've just been a rambling hippie trying to find out where I belong.
Well,
Right here with my brother.
the biggest part that got me to always want to be an entrepreneur is when, especially when I got out of high school, like working at Public and just greeting people, meeting people. It was great. It was fun at times, but I knew that I would not work. I would always work a dead end job. Like I would always work a dead end job. So to make your own money and to be your own person and really be known for something bigger than your disability, why not start a business and why not bring people together and why not create your own money? Because there's not many opportunities out here that you can stand up for yourself and other people, but being an entrepreneur and making your own money.
Well, and here's another thing too. You being like, we've come a long way with disabilities, right? So don't get me wrong. But when people see your disability, they automatically like want to do something like stick you at the front door to be a greeter. They don't think that you're capable of doing a real job. And so you usually don't get the real jobs, and then you don't make real money. Not to mention, if you make more than what is it, like 2 grand in your bank
Yeah,
account,
you
they
can.
take away all of your disability benefits. Anybody ever tried to live with 2 grand a month? Yeah, your rent's 2 grand a month. So forget medicine, forget food, forget transportation. So if Ben has a real job and makes real money, he gets all of his benefits taken away, and he can't like, so it's like it doesn't really make sense. So the only way for him to make real money was to work for himself and create his own money. So he's been steady trying for the last 20 years trying to figure out how to do that. And I don't think that you could have found a better avenue, dude.
Absolutely. You worded that way better. Yeah, that's exactly what I tried to say. You just worded it way better.
I have a way with words.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. What she just said, I was trying to say that.
Yeah, we'll talk. We'll talk on another episode about the disservices our government does for people with disabilities, because I have quite a few grudges. I absolutely hate our government, or the people who are in charge of it, and I think that the things that they do with people to people with disabilities is absurd. And we're all fighting about racial rights, and there's plenty of rights that need to be fought for that don't have to do with race. So different tangent, different episode. But that's what one of the things that made me want to get started with Ben is just the advocacy part and seeing all the ways that my brother struggles that are so unnecessary. I like getting a little scrappy, and so I like, for a reason, like for a good reason. So I love being able to be in his corner and help him like that, help
Absolutely.
fight for him and all his folk.
Yeah.
But I think that was really good. About that was who we are and why, how did we get here. That was a really good summary on how we got here and why by the horns, if we ever thought we'd be here. And I think that pretty much nailed it.
And just like we said it in the episode, all we need is you. We need you to come to the events. We need you to spread the word
Mhm.
about By the Horns because you're just as much part of this as we are. We can't do this without you guys.
Absolutely. This is By the Horns is a community project. Me and Ben are a brother and sister, not a community.
I
So
want
we need you.
I do want to say that By the Horns is not. It's a family. I like to call it a family because we're all gonna connect. We're all gonna go on the trip, so we're building one big family.
And it takes, honestly, to build and to grow and to get past these walls and to get outside of your comfort zone, you have to have a level of vulnerability. And you also have to have a level of trust with the people that you're getting vulnerable with. And that's what happens in a family. And like, it's not a family, like we're not going to give each other hugs and kisses goodnight or anything like that. But it's definitely like we're here because we want to be able to count on each other.
Absolutely.
So like a family. Family. That are family.
She said things way better than I ever could.
Thanks, Ben.
Yeah.
So that was it for our episode today, on who and what and how did we get here. So if you liked it, hit the like, subscribe, tune in next week. Next week we're going to be talking about just entrepreneurship as a whole, what we've learned, how friends and family have helped get this going, the obstacles that we've encountered, the connections that we've made, just the beginning steps of entrepreneurship and what we've learned so far. We're so baby fresh in this. So it's going to be a little bit interesting.
Oh yeah, I always tell people we're brand new at this because they're like, "Oh, y'all got an organization? Okay, how can I help?" Blah blah blah. I'm like, we're brand new, so just give us time. We're still trying to figure it out.
Yeah. Stick around. We're building it. So tell your friends, tell your family, help us build it. The last Sunday of every month, we have a meetup. It's usually at a different, it's either at a park or we like the La Hacienda Mexican restaurant by our house. So if that's where we're probably going to be at for February too, the Mexican restaurant, because it's cold outside. So park's not really a good place. Last Sunday of every month, we'll be posting flyers about it. Now that the spring is coming up, we're going to be posting camping trips and hiking trips. We're going to get out in those all-terrain chairs, baby. We're definitely going to try to be more active this summer now that we've got a little bit of momentum. We've met so many more people. We've got so much great advice. We've started trying to like not overthink everything and not overproduce everything. I'm not trying not to overproduce everything. And we're just going to show up for you guys. That's really all it takes, is to just show up and be there for you. And so that's what we're going to be. That's what we're going to do. We're going to show up and we're going to be there for you. So you show up and enjoy it.
Absolutely. Let's go and have fun and grab life by the horn.
Yeah. So it was great talking to you guys this week. And I really hope that y'all tune in next week and learn about our journey as entrepreneurs.
Let's do this. See you guys next week.
See ya.